Good Thursday morning. It's the main event. I'm your humble host, and voice feels so much better today, Stephen McCollum. Some people out there are going, well, I'd rather your voice not sound like this. It sounded better earlier in the week. But that's why I'm humble. I take those shots out there. And you know him as 17-year NFL veteran, 3-time Super Bowl champion for your Dallas Cowboys. And yesterday he was gloating about his baseball picks. Not so fast, my friend. Game 3's coming up today. And, 3 of the 4 series. Elimination or games here later on. This is going to be a fun day of baseball. Dale Illustrates here, everybody.
Well, that's why you brag while you can, Steve. You brag while you can because you know it's not going to last. Hey, I just saw this, and I know it'd probably tickle your fancy.
Oh.
I don't know where you want to go.
I love when things tickle my fancy, Dale.
But you got, I don't know if you saw this Big Ten deal.
With the $2 billion.
$2 billion, and they're not giving up anything.
Say goodbye, NCAA. This is the move that's going to cancel the NCAA.
My goodness gracious.
Yep.
How do you keep up with that?
Well, that's the problem. You're not going to. Because that means the SEC is going to have to do a private equity deal on top of it, which will be $2 billion or more. This is I know the death of the NCAA has been spoken about multiple times here on this program as well as other places. This is the death nail to the NCAA. You will not need the NCAA anymore with $2 billion worth of funding coming your way. It replaces every dime the NCAA gives you in a season that you split between conferences. Yeah, it's the death nail, Dale.
Well, it says, think of it this way. The $2 billion, the conference is not selling a piece of the conference.
That's the weird part. Why are you investing in something and not getting a piece of it?
Traditional conference functions will remain 100% with the conference office, scheduling, officiating, and championships. The new entity being created would focus on business development, and it would include an outside investor with a small financial stake.
Yes.
So, in other words, there's gonna be a clear separation.
By NCAA, literally they're creating the role that the NCAA does now. It's just now they'll be able to control it more upfront, whereas now they control it behind the scenes. Big Ten, the first one to do it. Big 12's been looking at that, and Big 12 was always like, we're not interested in this type of a move. Now you better be, because it's coming. It's the only way you're going to survive as a conference moving forward is this private equity stuff and taking over that side of things. But, so it's going to be fascinating to see.
Obviously, we'll talk more about that. I know you want to get into certain stuff. But
it's the first entity. It's the first step of it, and and we had to let it funnel itself out and all that stuff to break into it. But that's just the bottom line.
Yep.
End of the NCAA. Official.
It's just a matter of who else can join them.
Yeah, October 1st, 2025. Death nail of the NCAA with that move right there.
Hell's Bells by
AC/DC.
AC/DC.
No, it's a big deal, and it makes me depressed. I can't wait for the day the NCAA doesn't exist anymore because they do the stupidest things. What was that college where the coach had to resign because they didn't have enough dorms for the basketball players, and so they put them in private. They put them in private, dorms,
residence or whatever.
Yeah, and then what they didn't realize was that if you go to private residence, you can't take advantage of, the food and stuff on campus, and so some of the players did that. So now you've got a whole team being suspended. Over like $100 and something worth of improper benefits, and the coach had to resign. And I want to say, not St. John's, but it's one of those types of schools.
Right.
And it was a good up and coming coach and stuff like that. Those are the reasons I say the day the NCAA goes away cannot be here soon enough. Because all you do is you slap the coach on the wrist. You make the kids pay back the $100 and something if you want to punish them, not suspend them for the year and then have the coach be fired because of the inappropriate. It's just stupid. They were trying to do the right thing by these kids. They broke a bylaw. I understand that, but it wasn't like they were deceitfully doing it. The kids had no place to live. The university didn't have anybody. That's why I want the NCAA gone. I don't want the NCAA gone because that means the Big Ten and the SEC are running everything.
Well, therein lies the rub.
That's the catch-22.
Can all four of the big leagues
Nope.
join them, or is it going to end up just
Nope.
being SEC Big Ten?
Yes.
And ACC and Big 12 kind of become a second tier.
ACC is going to get absorbed by the Big Ten and the SEC. That's going to happen. ACC is going to go away. Stanford, Cal, who knows what's going to happen to them, but they will not be part of that. But Florida State, Clemson, Notre Dame, obviously, Virginia, all those schools are going to get absorbed by those two conferences. The big schools are going to be absorbed by those two conferences. So ACC is going to go away. Pac-12's going to be lower tier from here on out if that stays in there. The interesting one is Big 12 because Big 12 is a big enough conference that it can compete. It can stay up there money-wise and things to that effect. But I don't think it's big enough to kind of swarm into those, and it won't swarm into those two. So the Big 12's the question mark on what's going to happen with them. But all the other ones are going to get absorbed, or you're going to have, Big 10, SEC, maybe Big 12, and then everybody else below them. That's where we're going. So you're going to see a 12-team playoff, 24-team playoff, and it's basically going to be league play.
And remember now, the Big Ten, I always lose track of how many teams there or how many schools are in there.
18 now? Is it 18? Because Big 12 is 16. They're 18, and I don't even know what SEC is anymore.
And the Pac-10's 2.
Well, not anymore. They got some this year. They got those what is it? The Mountain West Conference teams coming over. Some of them, but they're still one short football-wise to be a big league.
Right.
Yeah, but that's where we're going, folks. So buckle up is where we're headed on that. Thanks for starting off the show with the depressing side, Dale.
Yeah, well, that's what I do, Steve. Because now you can be Mr. Positive. Give me something.
Flash Gordon chimed in on the text line yesterday, 11:17 a.m. Don't forget. Whether you're watching us on demand on the YouTube channel, on Robat TV, whether it's the free podcasting system, you can text us anytime and we see it. 623-252-6670 as well. And he saw the segment there on, yesterday we announced at the beginning of the show, Trey Benson is going to go on IR. Well, after the show yesterday, we got details on that. Meniscus problem, out 4 to 6 weeks minimum for Trey Benson moving forward.
Yes.
So Flash Gordon comes in and says, Dale and Steve, I need some help for fantasy football. He says he picked up DeMarcado. Should he pick up Carter also? Yes, Carter is going to be your starter. He's going to be your main back here moving forward. Michael Carter is, which I have serious thoughts about here. Then he also says, he says Trey Benson's going to play, and I had Connor, but he is out. He says, is Trey Benson going to play? And the answer, obviously, we got the answer to that yesterday.
You were on that early, by the way. Kudos to you.
Yeah, on Monday. It was, look.
You were on that.
When you play Thursday night and you're not at practice on Monday, red flags should go up. And then you move Michael Carter up on a Monday from the red flags should fly. Let this be it for any team out there in NFL. That scenario happens, something bad's about to come out from the team. That's what you pay attention to in terms of transactions and stuff like that, and things like that. Yeah, this is interesting. Michael Carter wasn't good enough to make the 52-man roster, 53-man roster. Nobody cares about the 53rd guy, Dan.
Hey, I was the 53rd guy some years. I think I was.
You claim to be. But in all seriousness, he's not good enough to make that 53-man roster to start this season. He's practice squad guy, and he's the best practice squad guy out there. Michael Carter has talent, folks. So he's just happily being on the practice squad, second year in a row, just waiting for his turn. Then he gets his turn, and he's probably going to be the lead back going into this Sunday's game against the Titans ahead of DeMarcado, ahead of Bam Knight. Like, what are we doing with Michael Carter if you're the Cardinals? Why is he not part of this team to start the season?
Does he play special teams?
That's a good question.
Does he play special teams?
Bam Knight is.
Obviously, when you started the season, you had your banger of a running back. You had a third down back in DeMarcado. And now things
that's the thing. Michael Carter's not a prototypical third down back. DeMarcado is. So you're right. It was just an off spot for him.
Right.
But I'll say this: kudos to Mike Carter. I guarantee you, he got calls from other teams saying, "Come play for us." He's got talent, and he decided to stay second year on the practice squad, just waiting for his opportunity. And I saw the interview with him yesterday. It was kind of nice watching it.
Yeah.
And he's just hey, I was the Pat Tillman, which the Cardinals have a award for the best practice team guy. And it's the Pat Tillman Award. It's named after Pat Tillman. So he goes from Pat Tillman to a starter in the NFL. That's a 52 team. He has a good attitude about it. I think coming out of preseason when they put him back on the practice squad, I was like, does this guy, what's wrong with, what's missing on him? But sometimes you're just comfortable being in a system and you're willing to take that practice squad deal with the hopes that you get your opportunity instead of going, I'm going to throw it at a team like New England, going to New England, having to learn that whole new offense, probably not playing well, stuff like that. And he just bided his time, and he's going to get his opportunity to show what he's got after a couple years this weekend. So I think that's a good part of the NFL.
Right.
I like it.
Right. And again, there's a familiarity with the coaching staff, with the trainers, probably like Phoenix.
There's obviously a relationship.
Yeah.
This is what I wanted to point out. There's a relationship with him and this coaching staff.
You go to a different coaching staff, and you're just the
Yes.
guy that comes in. Maybe you hit it off. Maybe you don't.
You could be cut after 2 weeks because
Yeah.
you're not fitting in and they don't like you and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So that's the good side of the NFL that you like to see. And I'm rooting for Carter, man. I really am. I like him as a person. I like him as a player. I'm not saying he's going to be Trey Benson. I'm not saying he's going to be. Cardinals have bigger issues to get this running game started than who their running back is. Guys like Dale need to step up their game, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. It's fascinating, and obviously we'll get into it a lot more tomorrow. But Tennessee 0-4. Do they come in here and do they shut it down?
They are terrible.
Are they done?
Cam Ward, this is what you're going to see on Sunday. I watched some Tennessee games knowing they were playing the Cardinals. And Jackson Dart is my favorite quarterback out of this draft pick. Cam Ward's number 2. The only reason I'm not touting Cam Ward more is because Jackson Dart should have started out of camp with Russell Wilson in front of him. And I'm railing on Dable and the Giants right now. So that's why my focus was there. Cam Ward throws a beautiful football. You're going to see passes on Sunday, Dale, that you're going to think he's a 10-year vet. And then you're going to see stuff where you're going to go, oh, dear God, they got no talent on this team.
Well, that's what you hope, and it's
Yes.
one of those things. Coach is fighting for his job. I've seen teams rally, and hey, one last hurrah. We're going to give it everything we got because this might be the week. And then you've seen other times I bet on teams where they just they shut it down.
Shut it down.
Yeah.
And as a Cardinals fan, I talked about it, I think on Monday. How many times have we seen, I remember the Boomer Esiason Jets, winless. They win one game that year, and they come into Sun Devil Stadium in November and win a game, blow the Cardinals' socks off, and win one game that year. How many times have we seen the Niners win only one game in a year, and it was against the Arizona Cardinals as well? So you have those fears in the back of your mind going into it this weekend. Then you got the injury side of it.
Yep.
I want to know what's going on with Will Hernandez. I know they're quiet about it. Nobody's going to get that answer, till later. But what is going on with that situation? I get it, man. He had a serious knee injury. But not putting him on IR gives you the impression he's ready to play.
Yes, you usually don't do that. If you're going to miss the first month, you miss the first month, then you put him on IR. And
I want to know if he had a setback. Did he have a setback?
Well,
was he close to go? And, he was going to miss week 1, week 2, and they thought they'd have him in there. And did he have a setback? That's the only kind of thing I could think about, on why he's not ready to go going into week 5.
Darius Robinson wasn't in practice yesterday. What's going on there? There are some question marks.
Darius Robinson is going to go down. I hate to say it. He's a good kid.
Oh,
He's going to go down as a bust, man. The kid doesn't have it, man.
Oh, man. Come on. It's his 4th game of his 2nd year. And really, has he played about 6 games so far in his NFL career?
It's the effort. It's the effort. It's the show me where he's improved, Dale.
I can honestly say I've not really broken him down.
Well, you're the one that gave the stat on his.
Yes.
On
his run rate.
Yeah, and it's
0.0. Zero.
There's only one place to go but up. And, as that spot, I mean, Walter Nolan Jr., this is what worries me about Nolan Jr.'s injury. Same one that Robinson had last year.
What is it with calves? I don't get it. And then there's Calais Campbell, year 26.
Just shaking stuff off. He's like, my arm's falling out. Just put it back on. We're good to go. It's nauseating from that side. But at least we don't have Shedeur Sanders as our third-string quarterback now.
Oh, I did not see what happened with him other than is he coming out? He's a little upset.
Rumor had it earlier in this year, people reporting that he wasn't even taking practice team reps.
I mean,
scout team reps.
Really?
Yeah, that came out early in the season. Basically, he was non-existent around Brown practice. Well, the Browns are doing what they should do because they're not a good team. So they are moving and seeing what the rookie has. And they're going to Gillen Gabriel this week. They need to do it. Joe Flacco's not doing well as a 45-year-old quarterback.
Joe Flacco's the guy that you bring in game 12 if you got a successful season. You need to win one game.
You need to see what you got with the rookie quarterback. So they chose Gillen Gabriel to start this week. Shedeur Sanders, why they're interviewing Shedeur Sanders in the locker room yesterday, I have no idea. That's question number one.
Well, you know why.
Because he'll give you something.
Controversy.
Shedeur Sanders yesterday. Do not adjust your volume if you're listening on the podcast or not paying attention to the video. Don't worry. You're not going to miss much of his answer. But here's the visual of what happened yesterday in the locker room.
Third quarterback. Vocally.
Shedeur Sanders is answering, folks.
I guess it's tough. I guess one more. I guess what do you think you have to show to the coaches just to have that belief in you that you can be ready.
Yeah, we could take that down now. That's nauseating. That is stupid.
Is he not saying? Is he really not making?
He's
any
mouthing the words, no voice coming out. He's
well, maybe he's hoarse like you were on Monday.
No, he's basically saying, "I'm speechless on why I am not starting this game on Sunday and why I'm not the number 2 quarterback because he's the number 3 quarterback going into this week again." That's one. We talked about this with who was the quarterback from Florida that just was a big distraction, so people didn't want him on the team and stuff like that.
Well, you're not talking about Tim Tebow.
Tim Tebow, yeah.
Yeah, but Tim Tebow wasn't an idiot.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying, Colin Kaepernick never got another chance because you don't want your second, third string, anybody on the team to be the focus and a distraction.
Yeah.
Now everybody's going to have to answer. What is Shedeur Sanders doing? They're going to be talking about the third-string quarterback today in press conferences.
Do you think he called his dad and said, "Hey, Dad, I'm thinking about doing this"?
That's my question. If you're Deion, because Deion did controversial things, but he was the best cornerback in the league.
Yeah.
There's a difference, folks. I hate to say it, but there is a difference. Nobody on the Cowboys went publicly, "Oh, Deion's just being an idiot. He's a distraction."
No, but he was he knew how to work the media to his advantage.
Yeah, that's not. And that's
all that's doing is putting yourself in a really bad light. Does Deion pick up the phone and call him and go, "What are you, son? What are you doing?"
That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. Does Deion reach out to him and go, "What are you doing?" This is the time where Shedeur Sanders needs to be. I'm happy for Dillon Gabriel. I'm here to back him up. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do out there, and I'm here to pick up the team if I need to.
And I'm looking forward to my chance.
And I'm looking forward to whatever opportunities the Browns give me moving forward. And instead you do that. It infuriates me. Very few things athletes do infuriate me. And it's just nothing says I'm privileged more than that. And it also shows for all you Shedeur's lovers out there why he fell to the 5th round.
Yeah, because if he's doing that in interviews with teams.
Well, the rumor was he walked in and was like, "Why would I play for you?" Well, you're not going to, kid. So get out of here.
Wow.
I was just infuriating. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it could be worse. But I mean, think about the Browns. They're in a division that looks easier than we thought it would be, with the Ravens being 1-3.
Yep.
The injury problems with them and everything. And their coach is fighting for his life. There obviously is offensive problems with the quarterback. You got to find out what the rookie has, right? Well, the Dylan Gabriel rookie has. You're doing all this stuff, the distractions out there. Good thing the Guardians are in the playoffs. At least through today, they're in the playoffs, because maybe that can distract from the football team. But you have all this going on, and now you have to have conversations about a third-string quarterback on top of it. Just, I've never felt sorry for anybody that lives in Cleveland because it's your choice. But I'm starting to feel a little sorry for people in Cleveland, Dale.
Well, maybe that's the only place you can get a job. The mistake by the lake.
I'm not going to lie to you. If the Browns called me today and said, hey, we want you to come coach, we're going to pay you a couple $100,000. I'd be like, I'm on my way.
Wow.
I can fail like the best of them. The question that I would have there is, would I be the worst Browns coach of all time when I get done?
That's a long list.
I have a lot of competition, Dale. Lot of competition. Hey, tonight's Thursday night football game, on paper, looks like it's going to be an exciting game, Dale. Exciting game. Well, until you find out. In terms of starter, Niners have half their team out, by the way, for tonight. But in terms of starter, Brock Purdy's been ruled out with that toe. Juan Jennings out, his ankle and rib. He's hurting on both spots. Ricky Pearsall's out tonight with his knee as well, which means Mac Jones starts. But then Jordan Watkins, calf. Defensive end Robert Beal Jr., he's going to be out of the game as well for the Niners. We're watching, it goes to my whole point of NFL. We're getting to the point where we're going to be watching UFL. And this is harsh for second stringers, but we're going to get to the point where we're going to be watching teams that should be playing in the UFL playing with all the injuries to the good players on these teams. And this is a Thursday night. Amazon, whether you know it or not, this is a highlight package for the NFL. And the Niners are going to have nobody with a name playing tonight. Christian McCaffrey, I think, is the only one.
Yeah.
Trent Williams. But nobody pays attention to offensive linemen. No offense, Dale.
Oh, you meant that.
So you're going to get DeMarcus Robinson, Sky Moore, Kendrick Bourne, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Yeah, he's still in the league, folks. They're going to be the remaining receivers for the Niners tonight, with Mac Jones throwing to them. How well do you think that's going to go tonight? Who's tuning in for that? Are you, Dale? What, are you going to sit down, popcorn in hand? I can't wait to watch Kendrick Bourne play receiver tonight for the Niners.
Well, watch the 49ers come up with some plan.
They're going to win this game, right?
I don't think so. But, gosh, this has got to be so tough.
It's just, I saw the injury report and they ruled them all out yesterday, and it was like 7 pages. I'm like, oh, he's out. What are we doing? The NFL needs to figure this out. It is becoming unwatchable. And I'll have it on, of course, because it's Thursday night football, but it's Rams-Niners. Yeah, I mean, it's just, what a start for the Rams in this division if they get this win tonight. Now, they're both 3-1. I think I talked about it yesterday. I think the Niners, with their 3-1 start, has given them room to where they can mess up with all these injuries while getting healthy.
Right.
I just question how healthy can you get? Because as you start to get starters back, well, your second-string guys are going to be getting injured, dinged up and everything. Then your third-string guys are going to be. So you'll get your number one guys back, but nobody to back them up because they're all injured. It's just going to be this, cycle back and forth between these teams tonight. And then the Rams, it's like 2 people are hurt. It's like a couple of guys. One guy, like, jammed his finger yesterday getting into his Porsche. Matthew Stafford has a back that acts like he's a 14-year-old. It's like he's 15 again.
Boy, that's when we made our prognostications. Part of that was, hey, if you have back issues in training camp, you're not getting through the season.
Yeah. I'm not saying he's going to. We're in week 5.
Yeah, but you haven't heard anything about him.
But he looks good. He looks good. That's the bad part. No grimaces. No Arch Manning throws. Where he throws and he's and then he has like hobble off a little bit. He's getting hit too. Matthew Stafford's getting hit. So maybe they Maybe they have different shots in LA, if you know what I mean, Dale.
Better shots?
Maybe there's a little more to those over there in LA. That's what I'm saying there. If you know what I mean. Are you watching Sam Houston, New Mexico State tonight, Dale?
I will make sure that I am not.
You're not going to sit down? 6 p.m.
I think
CBS Sports Network on top of it.
I think there's got to be a couple Arizona kids playing for New Mexico State. They recruit Arizona heavily.
I would imagine so.
So you might want to tune in so you're ready to go.
Aggie Memorial Stadium in Las Cruces, New Mexico, tonight, 6 p.m. And not even on ESPN. CBS Sports Network, Thursday night college football. Which game's more fun to watch? Niners, Rams, or that game?
Wow.
Don't knock Sam Houston. I wouldn't knock Sam Houston.
Las Cruces, just across the New Mexico border from El Paso.
It's so stupid.
You leave Las Cruces, you go to El Paso for a big night out.
Last thing I want to bring up with you here, of course, you go on and you go over and do your KUPD hit today with, fellow Dobson alum who paved the way, trailblazer for guys like me.
All you media guys?
Yeah, for guys like me. No, just to graduate high school.
Oh.
Yeah. I was just lucky enough to not get in that Tony Roma's trap back in the day. I was able to escape that Dobson line of succession there and everything. But you go over and do that and whatnot. And, of course, Uncle Lou comes in at 9 o'clock as well. Coming into the new studio. We'll have to see how happy Uncle Lou is. Last time we moved to the Park Central location, he was blowing up my phone with, God dang it, where are you? I gotta find this place. I got Riley hunkering down in the parking garage, waiting for him to pull in, so he can get up here without stressing out with the relative ease.
Well, I mean, Dash was moaning and groaning about it, and he found it, and he's happy.
Yeah, he was actually he even said, Steve, you didn't even have to make that video. It was easy to find. So I was like, all right, good. I sent the video to Lou, and Lou goes, yikes. That's all I got back from him.
I think it does make it seem more complicated.
It does.
But as long as you have the right address.
Step one. If you notice, everybody else is getting the right address.
Yeah, I think so. Now it kind of seems like maybe that was personal.
Well,
all right.
Got nothing to say on that.
I know how you feel. Little difference between 40 East Van Buren and 400.
Yesterday, me and Ethan ran down to the McDonald's over at 7th Avenue in Van Buren, which is, we're basically a third. And we drove by there, and I go, I wonder if that's where Dale was hanging out when he called.
Where are you, Steve?
In Major League Baseball, we have 3 games today, elimination game and 3 series. Dodgers, of course, dispatched the Reds like we all thought they would. And this is interesting because Dodgers tend to scuff in the playoffs, and they did not scuff in these first 2 games.
Right.
So is this the Dodgers we're going to see for the rest of the playoffs, or is it just because they played the Reds? But here's an interesting stat for you. I'm going to send you off here to Holmberg with his show and the stuff you do with him afterwards there as well. I'm going to send you off with this to make you look smart. Are you ready, Dale?
Yes.
You're not going to remember this.
You don't think so?
But maybe I'll send you the link and you can just play it here as well. 6 of the 8 highest paid payrolls in Major League Baseball made the playoffs this year. 6 of the top 8.
Okay.
My point on this now that Reds obviously are not part of that, right? So they made it, of course, from that side.
And who are the other ones? Blue Jays?
Blue Jays.
Or
No, Blue Jays. What?
Blue Jays or Guardians?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up here. I'm sorry. I'm a little bit slow.
Oh, that's fine. It's not that.
But here's my point on this. We've been railing on, the Diamondbacks. Even Mike Hazen came out yesterday and clarified, me and Torrey are not a team, because that's the narrative that's out there. Buster Olney on ESPN came out and said, Torrey's not going anywhere as long as Mike Hazen's there. Like, even he, as a national reporter, said that's where it's going. Mike Hazen had to come out yesterday and clarify that. We are not a team. We are not tight at the hip. We're in a win-only basis. The more Hazen talks about we get judged by wins and losses tells us how much he's lying to us. Because if you're judging on wins and losses, you would be like every other team that didn't perform this year getting a new manager. Angels got a new manager yesterday, or they're going to get a new manager.
Yeah.
Two other teams. Rockies fired their GM yesterday.
Okay.
That guy's probably thanking his lucky stars.
Yeah.
Teams are making changes except for one. and I'll do this too. Mets are keeping their manager going into this year after a colossal. How the Mets are keeping a manager, I don't know either. But none of that matters, folks, when 6 of the 8 highest payrolls in Major League Baseball, and it's not close, make the playoffs every year, minimum. You have to spend above the salary cap. The threshold number is what they call it in baseball. You have to spend above that to compete for the playoffs, and the Diamondbacks aren't going to do that. So does it matter what manager and GM we have here?
Well, that is always interesting, isn't it? Because there's been talk of, 2 years ago, well, the Diamondbacks were one of the highest spending teams, but they make it to the World Series, so they sweep the Dodgers and all that. Yeah. So you can look at that. But I think on the one thing you talk about, the highest paying teams versus mid or low teams, is that you can afford to make a mistake and mask it if you're a higher paying team.
The current CBA, this season's luxury tax threshold, so if you go over this amount, you pay a luxury tax to the other teams. $241 million is that level on the CBA this year. 6 of the 8 teams in the playoffs went above that number. So they're paying a luxury tax to everybody else. There's the Houston Astros. That's right, not the Guardians. The Houston Astros and the New York Mets are the 2 teams that have the over the threshold that didn't make the playoffs.
Okay.
Fire everybody in that situation, right? That's the Sun situation there. That's winning that. The Dodgers obviously pay the most in penalties. The Dodgers are paying $150.7 million tax bill by itself, not including the salaries they pay.
And remember, that's with Shohei Ohtani
deferring his money.
Yes. If not all, the vast majority of it.
The $150.7 million tax bill by itself, not even including the Dodgers payroll. That's more than every team in the NL Central besides the Chicago Cubs. Their tax bill alone is more than what other teams are paying on payroll on this side as well. Cubs, of course, made the payroll this year as well from that. But New York Yankees, easily took on Cody Bellinger's contract this year, added to the salary cap side. Toronto Blue Jays, they have a $254 million roster. They added to their roster this year. Obviously, the Phillies owner has opened his paybook. And my favorite quote here from the Phillies manager, or from the Phillies owner, is he just kept that wallet open, spending a ton of money. He goes, "My great-grandchildren might be angry at me, but I'm not going to know them."
That's a pretty good line right there.
They're going to love him because when that team sells for $1 billion, they're going to love him for that side of it.
That's
right?
funny.
Yeah, I love that. I love that comment, that quote there as well. So, the Mets payroll's $336 million. Obviously, they missed the playoffs. My point is this: we can argue about Torrey and Hazen. Should they come back? Shouldn't they come back? Disappointment, no disappointment. You don't compete unless you spend at high levels. And the Diamondbacks are saying they're going to pull back after a record year of attendance this year, people standing in the long lines, getting the overpriced beer, the overpriced pizza, the Portillos, and whatever else is in that stadium. They're going to cut back on their spending this year. You don't compete very often unless you spend that. That's the bigger issue.
Because this past year, they were 12 or 13, depending on which salary cap tracker you look at. Imagine if you're the Mets, you're the second highest spending team.
They pay, the Mets pay something. Yeah, I think weren't the Mets number one, second behind the Dodgers this year?
That's what the one I looked at.
Yeah,
said.
so they and I think their luxury tax is right behind the Dodgers as well, and they don't even make the playoffs.
To meet the Diamondbacks for vacation.
Yeah, their owner though that guy wipes his brow with $1 million bills. And I just want to leave that with you. You got some knowledge here going over to Holmberg. Sounds smart with him. It doesn't matter. It just does not matter what the Diamondbacks do with manager and things. You're at a disadvantage going into it. Period. End of story. So, Dale, get out of here. Go do your thing over there. We'll see you tomorrow.
I'll miss you, Steve.
Will you, though? Aw. Hey, have fun calling that game. North Canyon tonight? Are you at North Canyon?
No.
You're in the Far East Valley?
No.
In the ghetto?
Well, I'm at Maryville High School.
Oh, I was going to say, I forgot who they played. I was trying to remember.
Maryville High
Well,
School.
wear your flak jacket, senor.
Not saying anything, Steven.
No, I'm saying it for you.
Hopefully I see you tomorrow.
They'll get mad at you. I won't be anywhere near there. Have fun doing that. CW tonight for Dale. High school coverage as well. Who's your partner?
Guy named Jordan Spurgeon. Okay. He seems like a nice guy. We've had a couple conference calls and seems like a nice guy. I'm sure it'll go. It's a football game.
It'll go great. It's Dale's there. It'll go great.
Yeah.
I'll probably fall in love with the play-by-play guy and everything. Dale's getting out of here, folks. Uncle Lou's coming up at 9. When we come back, I'll have a couple other baseball stuff for you as well.
Found it.
I know. Riley was walking around with his bag. I was like, what's happening there?
Well, that's how Lou gets treated. Here, take my bag.
Come on back, folks. I'll get you set up for Lou coming up at 9 o'clock. And we're back here. Main events, of course. I get you wrapped up here on this hour as Uncle Lou will be joining us. VSiN, Gamblu.com. Big UFC fight this weekend as well. They were in Perth, Australia last weekend. Some good fights over there as well. Lou picked a couple of those and nailed those as well. We'll talk about that. NFL going into this weekend. Tonight's Thursday night game. Like I said, we have tons of injuries on the Niners side. I just, Thursday night football, folks, and all the injuries happening around that. So that's coming up at 9 o'clock as well. But, when Dale was here, I gave Dale that nugget there as he goes over to KUPD. Try to help Dale out there with a little bit of smartness and everything. But, as I said, my takeaway from this is yes, you can get into the playoffs. Yes, you can make a run, a la the Diamondbacks did in 2023. But it doesn't matter to compete-wise unless you're spending the money. And that just continually every year gets said around Major League Baseball. And, there's a lot of talk about, salary cap, things like that coming up from that side. More stats from you. And I got all these stats, by the way, from The Athletic as well. So just to tell you kind of where I'm getting this from moving forward and credit them for their research and quite frankly, good research here as well. So heading into this baseball season, the Reds were one of 9 teams. So that includes the White Sox, Rockies, Marlins, Brewers, Twins, Pirates, Mariners, Cardinals. The Cardinals on this list kind of surprised me. But the Reds were one of 9 teams who declined to sign any player to a multi-year contract last offseason. They refused to do it. 6 of those teams are postseason, obviously, watchers, right, with everybody else out there. 6 of those 9 teams. So there's a huge discrepancy in Major League Baseball between the spenders and the non-spenders. And you're seeing that gap get bigger every year as we move on. The Tampa Bay Rays finished with a losing record for a second consecutive year. Tampa Bay Rays were one of those teams that could compete and competed heavily with a lower payroll and would compete for the playoffs as well. Obviously, the Athletics have struggled since 2021 as well, and those were considered innovative teams, right? Moneyball for the A's, for instance. They did things differently, compete for the playoffs on that. The Moneyball, those innovative type teams, the Tampa Bay Rays did more with less talent, less payroll, and competed in a division where they had a lot of big spenders. They would make the playoffs in those times. Those little niche teams aren't potent right now. Those things aren't working right now in Major League Baseball as well from that side. So it's legitimately just coming down to spending or not spending moving forward as well. So, stadium obviously is a big deal. New ownership is a big deal, right? The A's have an ownership problem, moving to Vegas, etc. Stadium stuff. Rays are moving to that multi-billionaire real estate guy that's buying the Rays. So will that change there? But even then, you get Tropicana built back up. That's not a viable stadium compared to their competitors out there. So, how does that change and stuff like that? So maybe these stadium renovations that the Diamondbacks are doing will give them another pop here to spend more money. But like I said earlier, Diamondbacks say they're going to cut and probably not spend as much as they did last year. That's how they're phrasing it. And they had 50,000 more people go through their stadium than they did last year. The revenue's there. The people are there. And now they're saying we're going to cut back on our spending a little bit going forward. They're keeping the deal. And I know Lou loves Torey Lovello, and he doesn't like me bashing him. Comes at me all the time on that. well, we'll get Lou's thoughts on that here coming up. But Major League Baseball, right now, it's getting worse and worse. To the point where, as we all know, we've talked about it here before, the Yankees are even kind of saying, we can't compete with the Dodgers spending. And when big team leagues with a lot of spending are complaining about other big team spending, it should open your eyes a little bit as well. So all that's leading us to the probability of like the Rockies owner wants a salary cap. We know Ken Kendrick wants a salary cap. We know the owner of the White Sox is always advocated for a salary cap. So that's going to be the big battle coming up here, in the CBA. The players obviously don't want it. But this sport is a bunch of has and has-nots coming up, it's getting worse and worse and worse. At least when you have the Rays and the A's competing, as a little lower market team in terms of spending, at least then you could have that as, other small teams are doing it, but it's becoming less and less and less in Major League Baseball as well in what's happening there. So just something to pay attention to here as we, of course, wrap up this wild card round of baseball here today. So schedule-wise for today, 3 elimination games. Game 3 is on the schedule today. Obviously, the Dodgers wrapped up that, swept their 2 games of the Reds yesterday. I mean, Yamamoto is just a beast on the mound. I know he's a Dodger. I know we're all ingrained to hate the Dodgers here in Arizona, but he is fun to watch. I love watching him pitch out there. He is so dominant when he's out on that mound and doing well. So you got Detroit, Cleveland, noon today here, Phoenix time on the mound. This, to me, I know I picked Cleveland to win this series. I thought Detroit with their slide was going to hurt them. They came out game 1 behind their guy. Blade Cecconi's on the mound for Cleveland today, folks. There's an old Diamondback name for you. There, Jack Flaherty is on the mound for Detroit Tigers today as well. By the way, 12 p.m., ABC is where you can watch that game today at noon, our time, Detroit, Cleveland. To me, I know I picked Cleveland to win this series. To me, this game is a pick'em game. Just pick a team and see who wins. Cleveland is favored on the betting lines today on the line, but just pick one of these teams. I think Cleveland's going to do it and put Detroit's meltdown end of the season kind of in the rear view. That's going to be a fun game today. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be a fun game. And then after this, I don't care about either team, whoever advances. But for today, this is going to be a fun game to watch. Then you got San Diego, Chicago. Of course, Yu Jarvis on the mound for San Diego. Talon's on the mound, I believe it is, for the Cubs, if I remember correctly. I thought San Diego would kind of sweep this series here because of their pitching, right, with the closer out there, Miller. Oh, my goodness. The Padres were throwing heat yesterday all throughout that game. The Cubs could not catch it and adjust to it. It was an amazing thing to watch. Can they do it 2 days in a row? I'm not too sure. Yu Jarvis is not that type of pitcher, right? I do like the San Diego winning this game today, though, in Chicago. I do like San Diego winning this. But this is going to be a close game. This isn't going to be an absolute blowout, I don't think, on the mound or on the diamond. So that's coming up 2 p.m. today as well. And then it's not the rivalry it's been in the past. Boston Yankees tonight. I do have the Yankees pulling this series out. Aaron Boone, hopefully has learned from his Game 1 mistakes that he had there. I do think the Yankees pull this out tonight as well. But this is going to be another fantastic game tonight. 5 p.m. first pitch for Boston and New York tonight as well. And then, of course, we'll move on to the next round. We already know the Dodgers go on to play the Phillies. The Dodgers have all this payroll. The Phillies have spent all this money on all this payroll. 2 heavyweight teams with a lot of payroll battling it out in the next round of the baseball playoffs. Starting in Philadelphia. Dodgers have to go to Philly to start this series. Ohtani, it's already been announced, is starting this game against the Phillies as well. We don't know exactly when it's going to get underway. We have to wait through today as well. Here, there's a really good chance, Dodgers fans, hate to tell you this, you're going home in this round. There's a really good chance. This is the end of your playoffs here coming up. This is an unbelievable matchup going into this round of the playoffs as well. All that work in the all season, all this payroll, all you've done, and you get the Phillies. Good luck to you, man. in terms of the baseball side of things. Other quick news for you. So let's check the text line and of course the at TME Sports Show as well here. Robert chimes in at TME Sports Show. He says, you think that the Big 12 would do this as well with all their Texas schools? And that's going back to that private equity conversation we had at the top of the show. Big 10, $2 billion of equity being pumped into them as a conference with no ownership given up. And I mentioned during that time that the Big 12 was looking at getting private equity involved. And then they kind of backed away from it and said it's not an angle they want to pursue right now. But we knew college was going that way. The Big 12 needs to do it more than anybody else does because they need that infusion of money to prop them up. Because they don't get the money that the Big 10 and the SEC does from the broadcast, et cetera, type of stuff. So Yarmark, I think Yarmark's missed the boat on this a little bit, in terms of the private equity guys. Because that's the way the sport's going. You got to get involved in it. So we'll have to see if the Big 10 being the first one to do it is going to change the process. I guarantee you the SEC is doing it next because Big 10 did it. SEC's got to do it bigger, right? They're going to get a $3 billion private equity deal. That's going to be better. So it'll be interesting to watch where college sports are going after that. And then Robert also says, given the last 2 first-round picks regarding the Cardinals, when do we start questioning Monty? Year 3 is too early. And this is year 3 of him drafting. Robinson, of course, didn't practice, but injured last year. Unfortunately, his mom died. I'm not going to fault anybody for that. Missed some games because of that. Had a setback on his calf. Came back into the season and didn't do much. It's his rookie season. Missed most of the year. I can understand that. But he's also doing absolutely nothing this year. And then, like I said, Walter Nolan. It's way too early to question him. You don't plan on Walter Nolan getting drafted, junior, getting drafted and getting hurt in preseason with a calf. You just don't. It's too early. Maybe next year we start judging him a little bit. We kind of joke around here. We sit in front of Monty's family's box at the stadium. And his mom's a lovely, lovely lady. We met his dad a couple weeks ago as well. They have no idea what I do for a living. They have no idea anything like that. We obviously don't bring that up, anything like that. They're just fun people to be around. And the pride, this is what's interesting about it, is it's easy to do this and for people that sit at home and go, oh, Monty's a bum. He doesn't know how to draft people. He picks the wrong people, etc. And then I'm just telling you guys, it changes your perspective when he goes into this box and says hello to his wife, his kids, everybody in the box. I don't know if they're brothers, sisters, whatever. And the way his mom looks at him with just so much pride. And it just sits there and you're just like, it just brings you to perspective here. Yeah, it's about football. Yeah, it's about wins and losses. But it's different for other people as well out there. So it's an interesting side of it. But I'm not saying this because we sit next to him and I kind of feel for him a little bit. Just knowing, right? You take that job knowing you're not going to have that job forever, right? You know you're going to eventually move on from it. And but year 3 is way too early to be judging Monty at this point, in my opinion. Now, is it year 4 or 5? I don't know. I can tell you this. I know we're only in year 2. If Robinson doesn't start showing improvement, you put him in that possible boss category. If you haven't already, you're definitely doing it by the end of this season in year 2. Your best ability is your availability, and he's not out there. He's not making a blip on any stuff, anything to that effect there. So I do think Year 3 is a little too early for him. But this is officially Monty's team now. He's turned over everybody from the previous regime. So in terms of free agency, in terms of that stuff, it's definitely on him now this year. If guys don't work out this year, like Dale talks about the guards all the time, if they're not working out, that's on Monty. These are handpicked players by Monty this year. So you can't judge him on that side of it. The draft picks, though, still a little early on that side of things. Just programming note for you guys in terms of sports this weekend. This is fantastic. If you didn't see this yesterday out there, ASU has a big game, hockey. ASU hockey has big games this weekend, October 3rd and 4th, against Penn State, Nittany Lions, and they're going to be here in Arizona playing Arizona State hockey this weekend. It's big for a couple of reasons. One, ASU hockey, fantastic year last year, expected to be as good, if not better, going into this year. Number two, they're playing Penn State, and if you don't follow hockey here, there's a guy named Gavin McKenna, plays for Penn State. He's a freshman this year. He's anticipated, and he's probably, if not, I can almost guarantee you, in hockey circles, he's going to be the number 1 draft pick this year in hockey. He will be there at the Mullet this weekend, playing ASU hockey this weekend for Penn State. So you get a glimpse of the future of the NHL this weekend as well. So some exciting things around the ASU hockey program this weekend. The other thing that makes it exciting, NHL has picked up these 2 games this weekend. It's going to be live on the NHL Network this weekend in the United States. It's going to be on NHL YouTube worldwide as well because of Gavin McKenna as well coming into the here this weekend from that side. Hey, guys, throw Lou's mic on here real quick. So that's fantastic for the ASU hockey program this weekend. And if you like hockey, something you might want to tune into as well. Lou, what you got?
We'll do intros later, but
Yep.
you hit a nerve, the hockey. Not only is ASU a competent hockey team, they've got great athletes, and Penn State makes it to the tournament almost every year. It's not like we're playing a name Penn State, you think football. No, Penn State is the further north you go, the smaller and faster these hockey players get. This will be a terrific test for ASU, and they're doing a little bit of what U of A did last year in baseball, going and playing big-time programs and getting a taste of it. I hate to be so pro ASU all the time on these shows.
I'm telling you, I'm going to get you Sparky.
I call them like I see them, and the ASU hockey program is on its way. I would encourage people to watch that. That'll be great hockey.
Yeah.
I will watch that.
Yeah, I mean, it's you don't have to go down there. I don't know if it's sold out, and I tried looking up to see if it was sold out. That's something you want to pay attention to this weekend. Whether you're a hockey fan, you're an ASU fan, etc., something to pay attention to. And like I said, so it's multifold. You know, Penn State's a good team, but most likely the number 1 draft pick of the NHL is going to be in town this weekend for 2 games against ASU. You can see the future on top of it there. So yeah, NHL Network this weekend. You can catch that coming up. I mean, just you know, Lou, I know you're an Arizona guy, and you hit it right on the head. Even if you're an Arizona person and you just hate ASU all around, you've got to be paying attention. By the way, Gavin's 17 years old. I was going to say that also. 17 years old kid. This kid is the number 1 draft pick coming up. He's played in the Western Hockey League for the last 3 years. Like, he's a seasoned kid from Canada coming into town this weekend in terms of hockey. But, I mean, you even noticed it there. I mean, if you're not paying attention, and this is kind of what you hope. I know there's hatred between ASU and U of A, et cetera.
None here.
But this is what you want ASU and U of A to be. U of A should be looking at ASU and saying, how do we get that? Because that's just going to make this state so much better with the national recognition that's happening in all the sports, the improvement for everything. Yes, basketball season's about to start, and it's Bobby Hurley, and U of A will take over that side. But this is going to be fun, and what ASU is doing, you got to give them beyond the amount of credit that they're doing for this stuff coming up here with the national perspective that they have. ASU hockey, Lou, who would have thought?
And it's not a year old.
No.
I mean, it's an evolution, not a revolution.
Yeah.
There's been hockey at ASU for 10 years now.
Well,
and
they were
those
club at first, and then they moved over.
early years
Yeah.
were good, and they were building, but they've constantly risen and risen. I don't even know if U of A has a hockey
They do.
program.
It's a club team, but they
Okay,
do,
so
yeah. They're
but
starting off the same.
ASU's got some of their stuff, and
Yeah.
U of A's got some of their stuff, and there's enough to go around. It makes sense for both Arizona colleges and even Grand Canyon to excel. It's a good thing for all of us,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's fantastic. So for you hockey fans, I just wanted to make you aware of that this weekend. Just tune in. Even if you're not a hockey fan, ASU hockey is fun to watch. One, they are. We'll see what they do this year. But like I said, to see the future of a sport and a 17-year-old kid on the ice, you can look back and go, I remember when. I saw that kid play at Arizona State on a random October 3rd Saturday, and or October 3rd Friday, and October 4th Saturday against Arizona State hockey back then. So it's going to be fun to see. But Lou, let's take our break here, come back, get Lou's introductions in, talk some UFC last week, big rematch this week, a numbered fight coming up this weekend, and of course NFL talk out there. Lou's got a handicap through all of these injuries. God bless you, Lou. It's just
What I do.
I'm confused about these injuries and what to think about them. We'll get Lou's thoughts, of course, so come on back, folks. It's the main event. Uncle Lou coming up next. And we're back here. Main events, of course, Thursdays mean Uncle Lou, VSiN Network contributor, Gamblu.com joins us. We talk UFC. Even if you're not a gambling fan, you don't like gambling, you don't do it, Lou brings a perspective here that you can talk with your coworkers and friends around the water cooler at the bar while you're watching the games this weekend and throw out some facts out there as well. So that's why I enjoy Lou coming in, because it's not just a diehard gambling segment, though the element is there, but it's also, a lot of interesting opinions other than my simple fan opinions that I give out there as well. So Lou comes in on Thursdays. Lou, you found the place. You like it? You saw the view?
We're on the 7th floor. We have a nice air-conditioned studio. More than anything, the difference I see is when I look at Steve. He's got a nice that background at the other location wasn't as good. You look just like a handsome devil against that new background.
You should see the business show background. We opened up the dark background behind me, and then it looks out on the city there behind us.
How cool!
It's a beautiful background. Then Pit Stop yesterday, the show. We had a good backdrop for that yesterday, finally. So this is just allowing us more space to where we can improve things.
My contract calls for red brick,
Yes.
and so I got my brick, and I'm happy as a pig in
when,
a mud hole.
When we get this is our temporary setup in here, but when we get the quote unquote real desk in, I flat out told the guys we're going to have to go with a red brick background, permanent one. We're going to have to get rid of the green screen because multi-camera stuff we're going to be doing. But I flat out told them red brick background has to be behind there. So they're looking into backgrounds there for you, and it's all because of Lou there, folks, and his
How about
contract.
that? And then when you get if on the occasion that Dale, Steve, and I are all on the set, we're going to have a lot of bricks. I'm just saying.
So we're glad you found it. It's fun here.
Yeah.
We're enjoying it. Third day here, and everything's working well. It's been fantastic, and like I said, it just allows us to grow with the success of the program. And I mean, Lou, we can't do it without, of course, the people watching us live right now on Robat TV, the people that find us, on the YouTube, as people that find our free podcast as well, and all of that. And last week, I did see on the podcast we had some people from the Australia, New Zealand, and that part of the world listening to last week's show, as of course the UFC was in Perth, Australia. So with those new people coming on, you need to do your introduction so people can find you and want to be more serious about what you do here.
Well, first of all, I'm a sports handicapper. I've been doing it my whole life. Before it was legal, I was, looked upon like I had to kind of hide what I did. It was never seen as legit. Now I'm legit, and I get to talk to people about it. It's quite a change. Steve's been a great supporter here, and I love coming on. And what I do is share insights on my process and how I handicap sports. I work with a rifle and not a shotgun, and what that means, I only work certain sports. I always say, I use the analogy, if your child has a terrible sore throat and the mumps, you don't take them to an orthopedic surgeon. They're not specialized to do throats. You take them to ear, nose, and throat guy. And so if the doctor profession specializes, if all the attorneys specialize, why wouldn't sports handicappers? So what I'll tell you is when you see the guy that has an opinion on every sport, turn him off. He's working for him, not you. I try and bring a modern business approach. I'm from Omaha, Nebraska. Warren Buffett on investing is the mentor to any Omaha kid. I was once a kid, and I still look up to Warren. And I bring his practices of selectivity, due diligence, money management into sports gaming. I have a webpage, gamblu.com. That's where you can find all about me. This week's article on the free blog on the front page is this week's UFC 320. I'll ask Kobe to move back up to the top. You see the bands there that Kobe is highlighting. That's where you can find everything you want to know about me. The one thing I want to highlight here, as opposed to the sports, is the fact that we're huge supporters of the San Xavier Mission south of Tucson here in the state of Arizona, the oldest mission in the country. These people are doing great work down there, and we route proceeds from gamblu.com directly to the San Xavier Del Bac Mission. We've had clients go directly to the red link that you can see flashing there at the bottom of the page to contribute directly. So we're big on San Xavier. We're big on the karma that doing the right thing brings. I'll do anything legally and ethically to try and be a winning handicapper. But highlighting something indigenous to Arizona like the mission is so important to me. I appreciate the fact that Steve lets me share that each week.
Absolutely. In this day and age with everything happening in the world and the economy doing whatever it's doing, it's more important to support those, and especially what you do, because like you said at the beginning, you come from an industry that was at one time viewed as seedy, and sometimes it still is. So getting not to whitewash it a little bit, but there is some good out there in what Lou does, folks. As we move on from that, so
despite what my picks may do, although we've been okay recently.
we're going to do NFL second here, but I'll forget to ask later. How'd your NFL picks do on that? Was it the Golden Gate pick there in Vegas?
I'm in the Westgate contest, the gold. And that's a high stakes, pick 5 each week. And I'm glad you asked because I wasn't going to mention it. I went 4-1.
Oh,
and 4-1's a good week, yes. The good news is I went 4-1. The bad news is it was last week. So it's what am I going to do this week?
Yeah, no kidding.
And with these injuries that you alluded to, I've taken the unusual approach this week to I haven't paid any attention to any of it. I'm not going to get bogged down in noise. Is the quarterback for Washington playing? Is he not playing? Is Lamar Jackson going to play on the hammy? I don't care. I'm going to wait until Friday to see the Friday practice reports. That's going to give me, if you didn't practice Friday, you're doubtful and probably not playing. Questionable means you're probably going to give it a go. So I'm going to really backload everything this week to Friday so I can kind of see the continuity of the team. Now, the Thursday night game, you got a huge, ridiculous line move from what it was a week ago to what it is now. And that's because you got all kinds of injuries to quarterbacks, linemen, everything.
If you're a starter for the Niners, you're probably not playing tonight. That's basically what it comes down to.
Yeah, the Niners they're just decimated, and I'm going to tell you.
Well, I tell you what, hold on to that because when we get to the NFL, that's one of my questions. Tonight's line move because of those injuries.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that, but I want to start off here because obviously you also specialize in the UFC.
Yes, sir.
Last week's fights were fun and exciting from Australia, but big rematch this week, so let's get that done and everything before we get into the NFL side of things. And, of course, this week, UFC 320 coming up. But last week, Perth, Australia, 7 p.m. main card is when that began. I think it was 4 p.m. For the undercards there as well. The ones that stick out to me, in this fight here was you liked Magny last Thursday. Going into this fight against Jake Matthews, the Australian. Jake Matthews, some home cooking there as well. Magny impressed me as a layman in the UFC. Your thoughts on Magny and that submission win in round 3.
Yeah, I mean, Magny at plus 180 underdog. I mean, he just getting completely disrespected. And the key for Magny was at 38 years old, he's starting to chase periphery business opportunities because he's going to have to find a life after fighting. And he's one of the few that's able to plan that out. But he'd been distracted with that in previous fights. And for this fight, he mentioned numerous times that he got back into the gym, focused right in, and really wanted to make this a good fight for himself. And Magny's a world-class fighter, but just very inconsistent. And so it was time. We've made some money on Magny, and we made some last week. That was a fun one in a situation where dogs, I mean, it was like 9-3 favorite. So
Yeah, you
chasing
said going
dogs
into
is
this,
tough.
You said going into this fight you probably weren't going to bet a lot because a lot of favorites were probably going to win this. And that bared out. You said 9-3 was the
Yeah, and we had Magny as a dog, and then we had 2 other dogs for a half a unit, and then another wager that was a parlay that we hit that moves into a future card. So overall, the result was decent, but Magny made the night in a very, very short 2 or 3 bet card.
Last week we talked about Jimmy Crute and Ivan Ersland in this fight. You said it was going to be a fight to watch. It was. Even UFC said it was a performance of the night. It was a quick submission, round 1 there for Crute, I believe, got the win
Yes,
in that fight
Crute
there
got
as
the
well. You said it was just going to be 2 guys going at it. One needs to keep the fight up. One needs to keep the fight down, if I remember correctly. It went down quickly in that fight.
And
if I
we
remember.
had the fighter for a half unit Ersland that needed to keep the fight up, so it didn't work. We lose that one.
I like the lead up to this fight. I had it on and I was listening to it. I generally don't listen to the pre-fight. And they even the commentaries of the UFC there said, you know, Ersland's got to keep this up if he's got a chance in this. And the other guys were going, Crute's got to keep it, got to get it on the ground if he's got a chance in it. So it was funny to hear them mirror what you were selling us on Thursday going into this fight. So it was like almost like spitting. You should get on that broadcast, Lou. You're just as good as those guys. That's all I'm saying.
When Conor McGregor fought I went up to Vegas and worked the desk with the ESPN people. And I'm too old and too conservative for ESPN anyway.
Yes.
But I got friends throughout the network, and I can't usually speak too highly of ESPN, but I speak highly of my friends that work there. We'll say it like that.
Yeah.
But Ersland and Crute's a fade moving forward, in my opinion. Okay. They're really manicuring him, helping him get propped up as they try and keep momentum in Oceania.
The UFC doesn't like wrestlers either, right? So
not really, and that can segue us into the main event of this card.
Well, before we get to that, I want to have a moment of levity here, Lou.
Uh-oh.
Tell me about Lookboonmee. She lost. First fight of the night, decision unanimous. Lost to Thayanara. You got to tell me about Lookboonmee. I'm just kidding.
Well,
you gave me so much crap about that.
I did last week. He goes right to like the put me to sleep fight.
I just wanted to have some fun with you.
It's like
it was
the middle of January. There's a golf event in Poughkeepsie, and we want to talk about that. No,
I will say this: the UFC. I tuned into it just because, like I said,
you wanted a knockout, so you could come here this week and say, "Lou, you big dummy."
It was. That's not the fight you start with, UFC. Come on, guys! Like that was turn it on and go, why am I wasting my time watching these fights tonight with the way that started?
Brutal.
So I was just going to have some levity there, a little bit.
A little bit of levity.
After last week. But, yeah, the main event, I mean, Oberg Reyes here, performance of the night by UFC as well, and ended up being a first-round knockout, I think is how it was officially scored. Between these guys, Oberg gets the win, home cooking for him. My question is on Reyes. Change your opinion on him at all?
Well, I bet him. Yeah. I expected Reyes to. I projected him to want to be there and want to win this fight, and he did want to be there, and he did want to win this fight. The issue is he's chinny, and Black Jag Oberg found the chin and knocked him out. We live and learn. Reyes gets kind of moved into a different compartment.
I'd say, does he get stepped down now?
Yeah,
right?
he'll drop in ranks, and Oberg will move up, and Oberg eventually is going to have to fight somebody well-rounded, and when he does, we'll be on the other guy.
Well, and that's my question, because he was 3, and they do the rankings weird, but Oberg was 3. That wasn't a number 3 guy in that division in my eyes. Like he was missing some stuff, even though he did get the first round knockout. He's got the power and the punch.
Yep.
But that's all we now. It could be Reyes as well, but that's all we saw. And I was like, that guy's not a guy I think is a top flight UFC guy in that era.
Well, I mean, really, the UFC's discouraging grappler wrestlers so much, and in fact, we'll talk about the main event because we got a striker versus a grappler
got a
there.
big one this week.
But it's getting tougher on grapplers. Bottom line.
One more fight for last week, because the commentators on the fight talked about. I think it was the Nolan. Was it the Nolan Campbell fight? No. What was the fight where the ref stopped it with like 1 second to go because of the submission, and then he called it off?
That was Magny and Matthews.
Oh, that was Magny.
And Matthews
Okay,
is
that's
now protesting the fight.
Yeah,
I could see them fight again. I mean, Magny's arm did go limp,
It did.
and the ref went in there to stop it, and then all of a sudden he didn't stop it when Magny put up a
Well, he put his arm up, and then the bell rang, and then the ref called it off. But the commentators were talking like, this is bad for Matthews because he thought he just won the fight, and you saw his reaction when he stood up. It looked like he won the fight. Is that really what kind of happened there, and kind of lead him to where he wasn't prepared to fight? I just find that aspect kind of hard to believe.
Oh,
But
no,
is that
I
possible?
totally buy into it.
Okay.
Here, I just subbed the guy. Wait, I got to fight?
Yeah.
I'm on the
Okay.
fence. Wait, I got to fight another round? And then that's all Magny needed because Magny does his best work after a round and a half. He tries to get that other guy tired a little bit, using long arms to submit, and that's exactly what he did.
So, they just kept talking about Matthews having a letdown even during the fight. It wasn't like they waited till afterwards.
I think that
so,
was
okay.
appropriate, and I buy into that, yes.
Okay. Yeah. I wasn't sure because at first I was like, yeah, but I mean, it happened in 1 second. Then the round ended. It's like how much can that affect you? Now, if it was middle of the round, it would have been a different situation in my eyes.
I mean,
but-
bottom of the ninth, tie game. You hit one over the foul line. They call it a home run. The team, and then they
You
replay it
celebrate.
and say, "No, it isn't."
Yeah.
That's like popping a balloon, man.
What was the ref early on that, in your opinion? I mean, I thought his arm went limp, but it came up instantly afterwards.
I'm
but
not going to criticize the ref.
right.
That's such a tough situation.
It's all
there.
about safety,
I mean, the
right?
good news is we may get a second fight out of him. I get another shot at Magny.
Absolutely. There. So that was last week's fight there in Perth, Australia. And then, of course, this week, you got the big rematch here coming up. A lot of people are talking about this fight, UFC 320 as well. Obviously, the big ring here, T-Mobile Arena there in Las Vegas. Here, I'm going to leave it to you for the prelims, early prelims and prelims, because it's a lot of names I can't pronounce. Patchy Mix is on this card again. It seems like he's showing up a lot lately. Patchy Mix. He just had his debut, right?
Yeah, he just had his
got
debut
beat
against
up.
Mario Bautista, and he came in flapping like he was all that. Mario painted his damn fence. It's Mario Bautista fighting out of the MMA lab here in town. He's the real deal, as is 4 or 5 other guys at 135, 145, 125 at that gym. But speaking back, Mix has been quiet for this one. He's fighting a Polish vice grip wrestler, and I'm really struggling to try and find any underdogs on this fight card.
Patchy's a 3.5, 305 favorite.
Yeah, they're
going into
trying to
this.
be nice to him and give him something. I mean, he's going to be 2 inches taller. He's a little older. He's going to have no reach, but he's a lefty. I think the Polish kid, I haven't seen him fight. I'm interested in how competitive Wicklas can be against Mix. Not a fight I'm looking at.
Well, the reason why I bring him up is just because he was a guy that everybody was paying attention to in his debut, right? And now they come back and the UFC has him as an early prelim fight coming up here. Is this the UFC saying maybe we launched you a little too quick? Let's bring you back down, give you somebody you can beat here in an early prelim fight, kind of hide you a little bit and see what you can do, and then we can move you back up again. Is it that type of a fight for
Yeah,
him?
it's we give you this limelight and you laid an egg, and so now you're
Okay.
in the early prelims where you belong. If you can knock somebody out, maybe we'll look at increasing your exposure.
Yeah, because whether you like it or not, I mean, he was super hyped coming into the UFC.
Overly.
So early prelim, is there any other early prelims to maybe pay attention to here this weekend. I know none of these names, Lou, so skip them, or is there some we should tune into?
No, I got one or two.
Yeah,
Puneli Soriano at 170 pounds is fighting a guy named Veretennikov, a Kazakhstani fighter. I like Veretennikov a little bit in this fight. He's one dog I'm looking at. Haven't made a decision yet. He's taller, longer, and he can wrestle. Soriano of Hawaiian, when you hear Hawaiian, they're sluggers, and you can hit them over the head with a baseball bat. All they're going to do is blink at you. So if you're going to get in a fight with a Hawaiian, my advice is don't, or have a gun, because Hawaiians, they grow up fighting. I like Veretennikov a little bit here, even though he's the older fighter. Then we got a fight between Brazilian Daniel Santos and a kid named Yu out of South Korea. This should be a pretty good fight. It's lined competitively. Santos with the experience minus 140 against Yu at plus 120. This would be the fight I'd tell you, make sure and watch. I'm going to be scouting Yu. I think he's live here. No bet there for me. And then finally, Muniz and Shabazian. Shabazian is a deaf striker fighting out of Extreme Couture in Las Vegas. Really, really struggles on the ground and with takedown defense. Muniz is a soft as a grape Brazilian submission specialist that can't strike a match, let alone an opponent in the cage, but he is a world-class Brazilian jiu-jitsu fighter. So if this fight's standing, Shabazian's going to paint his fence. If this fight hits the floor, Muniz will choke him out.
Over under on that is 1.5 minus 140 to the under.
Yeah, Muniz,
So they think it's standing.
Muniz
Vegas
is
says
gonna,
it's standing.
Muniz is going to grab him while he's dry and submit him. Or Shabazian's going to find him early in the fight and knock him out.
That's the quick one, according to the odds.
That's
there
how
as well.
I see the fight going.
Okay.
After saying all that, you might as well now bet the over because I can easily be wrong.
Yeah, right. Plus 110 to that over 1.5 on that fight right there. Then you got the main card, of course, here kicking off. You got Magomedov, Abus Magomedov against Joe Pfeiffer. Here, Pfeiffer we've seen fight. I've seen fight a few times here as well against Magomedov from Germany.
Yeah, Magomedov is well-rounded, but he strikes. He tends to run out of gas. Now he's been in with a high level of competition, makes him ready for this fight, probably higher level than Pfeiffer, because Pfeiffer's only got a handful of fights in the UFC. But Pfeiffer's big and strong and young and willing, and he's had a loss 2 or 3 back. So once you taste that defeat, you keep your hunger. Pfeiffer, pretty good size favorite at minus 240 or so.
Minus 265 right now. We use DraftKings for UFC, just so everybody
yeah,
knows.
and he opens 180. So yeah. Pfeiffer's seeing the money here, rightfully so. 6 years younger is enough of an age advantage to really draw your attention to Pfeiffer. Not a fight I'm overly interested in.
And then you got Josh Emmett from the United States. We've seen him fight before. Yusuf Zalal from Morocco here in this fight coming up as well. Featherweight bout.
Emmett is pedigreed, powerful, great wrestler, heavy hands, but he's 40. He's at the end of his wick. And while he maintains his toughness, durability, and power, what he lacks might be fleet-footedness, crispness, and quickness. And what do you got in Yusuf Zalal?
All of that.
Greased lightning. The guy's really good with his feet. He doesn't have the power that Emmett has, but he can accrue between kicking and angles over time. He can really do some damage. So he's flapping that he's going to finish Emmett. That's a tall task to me. Should be a really great clash of styles. Zalal from Morocco, Emmett fighting out of Team Alpha Male in California. Zalal's a minus 400 favorite or so in the fight.
440 right now.
Fight 2.5 over minus 250.
298.
Yeah,
right now.
This might be a fight I look to Emmett plus the points because I believe it goes to decision. I don't think Zalal can get Emmett out of there. If Tupuria can't get Emmett out of there, I don't know that Zalal will be able to. And that's what he'll be trying to do so he can say that he did and the other guy didn't.
So plus 3.5 points at the plus 100 mark.
Is
right
that
now?
what it is?
That's
Are those lines out? I'll look hard at that. Yeah.
On DraftKings, they're out. Yeah. Plus 3.5, plus 100, and then minus 3.5 to minus 135.
Yeah, so I'd look hard at Emmett there. It's just, will he be able to catch up to him and touch him? If he knocks him down in one round, that's probably a round for him and makes it 2-1, and there's your 3.5.
Well, let me ask you this, just for the people that might not understand. So you say Emmett with the points. Does that mean Emmett plus the 3.5?
Yes,
Okay,
because
so
the
on that
plus
line?
is next to Emmett's name plus 3.5, and that means at the end of the scoring, they have it 30-27 Zalal, 30-27 Zalal, 29-28 Zalal, 3-1. That's 7. You lose.
Yeah.
So in order to hit the Emmett and 3.5, it's got to be 29-28, 29-28, 29-28.
It's gotta be under
or
3.
a split decision. It's the accumulated 3 judges' points that make that point handicap.
Yeah, the difference in the points. So perfect.
Pardon me.
Something to look at there for that. Then we got Khalil Roundtree Jr., who I like him as a fighter against Prochazka from Chechnya.
No, Yuri Prochaska is a Czechoslovakian, and he's that goofy guy with the ponytail and the warrior, and he comes in with all the hocus pocus
Fanfare, yes.
Not very defensive, but the dude is willing and able. I mean, he trains like literally. You can see this on Twitter today. They dug a hole in a frozen lake, and he went like 15 feet underneath and had to break through to get up. And they asked him, well, why would you do that? And he says, because I could die doing it. I mean, the dude's the dude's a fighter.
All right. So that's that guy. Yes, I
So you
remember
got
him.
Prohaska, and then you got Roundtree, and Roundtree's got heavy hands, and he probably did his best work in a 4-round beatdown eventual loss to Alex Pereira. But Roundtree is good, strong, mentally tough, powerful. This fight don't miss. Who's gonna win it? I think Roundtree has a chance.
All right, Roundtree right now plus 164 and minus 198 to the favorite.
After opening dead pick, so they're betting Prochaska
Oh, really? So that was even on the
opening
line on top of it. Really, over under on this 1.5 minus 154 to the over. These guys, you said don't miss it. Light heavyweight bout. These guys are just going to square up and go at it.
Yeah, I tend to like the over though because they're both tough and durable.
Perfect from that side of things. So minus 154 to the over for that fight. So I'm going to write down must watch that one on those guys. I recognize them. I don't remember the way they fought before, but so it'll be fun to catch up on that. Corey Sandhagen, we've seen before. We've talked about him a lot, but he's got a big matchup here in this bantamweight. Merab Deval. I knew I was going to screw it. I knew the second I saw it, I was going to screw it up.
Merab. Davalishvili.
I had it until I saw it, folks.
He's a Georgian wrestler.
Yes.
I mean, the typical vice grip Georgian wrestler. Davalishvili is a real character too. He had a bit with ice, and if you pull up YouTube Davalishvili Frozen Lake, you'll see him out. This a few years ago. He's standing out there, and there's a frozen lake. They've dug a hole there. They didn't do a very good job digging the hole. So he goes and he's going to show everybody. He goes to dive into the hole in the lake, and it's frozen over. And his head bounces off. He comes out with a cut, and I'm so stupid. What? He didn't check the ice. These kids are nutty. Anyway, this Davalishvili don't get tired.
They get in the ring and beat each other up, Lou. They're all a little nutty.
That's right. Davalishvili, though, don't get tired, and he's a chain wrestler. Corey Sandhagen's a really good match for him. Long, tall, elusive, footwork, length, and he's going to have to work to keep. This is going to be like watching a bullfight in a phone booth. And you're going to have Sandhagen waving the cape and trying to stay out of the way, and the bull, which is Davalishvili, rushing at him. Because in order to dominate, Davalishvili going to have to get his hands on Sandhagen, and Sandhagen can't let it happen. So there is the drama there. While it's on the feet and at distance, Sandhagen will be more than competitive. But once Davalishvili gets him against the fence and gets his hands on him, Sandhagen is world class in every single capacity except takedown defense. I have to lean to Davalishvili here.
Everybody is, because he's a 4-10 favorite going into this fight. 5 rounder as well, and over unders 4.5 minus 360 to the over.
Yeah, so they're telling us it's going to be a decision. Mirab's saying, "Oh, I'm going to knock him out." Well, that champion's got a flap. Mirab doesn't really have knockout power, and if he stands on his feet and tries to knock him out, he could get knocked out.
Who did Davishvili fight last fight to get that championship? Because there was
He beat O'Malley again. Second
Oh, that's
time.
right, O'Malley. I was going to say he fought somebody big, and O'Malley beat O'Malley both those fights.
That's
So,
right.
yeah,
O'Malley
so.
is. I mean, it's going to be hard to beat Mirab.
Perfect for that co-main event there. Then you've got the rematch here. Go ahead.
Excuse that interruption.
Yeah, no, you go ahead.
I just want to say Mirab is a chain wrestler out of Sarah Longo. For some reason, the UFC got a little bit of a bone on Sarah Longo, and they like Mirab, but boy, they'd sure like to see him get beat. They're not the biggest wrestling fans. They want excitement, they want striking, they want blood, they want violence, and it's getting to the point where wrestlers are getting a little bit prejudice in the UFC.
Yeah, and
There's a prejudice against the wrestlers in the UFC, I should
Well, it's
say.
hard when you get the guy the championship in terms of who he fights, and then wins the championship. It's hard to get rid of him if you do that, Lou.
Hard to get rid of them if you're that good.
Yeah, that's the problem.
key is you keep them from the championship like they're doing
that's what
with
I'm saying.
Evloev, and they
I'm
did with our next fight in the main event. We'll talk about that.
But that's what I'm saying is they made the mistake of giving him the chance to win the
They had to.
championship.
He kept beating. He hadn't
Is that
been
what it
beat.
was?
He
Okay.
keeps beating everybody.
But that also sucks about the UFC that you can manipulate it that way. It's still boxing way. You can avoid the big champ. Big champion can avoid guys that could threaten him, and you see that a little bit here in the UFC.
It's creeping in more and
stuff,
more, and
so.
I'll have more to say about that in this next fight.
So then you got Magomedov, Ankalaev, and then Alex Pereira here rematching this fight. If you would, tell us what happened in the first fight. Remember, everybody here, Russia-Brasilia fight, and what you see here in this light heavyweight main event.
In the first fight, Pereira came out after destroying everybody, and he looked slow and listless and couldn't really execute his game, and that's partially because he didn't miss a UFC event for a year. He traveled to China, then to Iceland, then to Brazil, and then to Timbuktu, and how do you train while you're doing all that? I don't believe he was mentally or physically prepared for the fight, and then when he got in the fight, this Ankalaev, a Russian vice grip wrestler that doesn't use wrestling, charged him, crowded him, pushed him back, and dominated the fight and won in a decision. What changes in this fight? Nothing. Ankalaev, will he use more wrestling? Maybe. I'm not sure. What will change for Pereira is that he's been in the gym and shut the heck up, and I think we're going to see a much sharper, better version of Pereira. That said, he's 37 years old, almost 38. Ankalaev 33. You got a 5-year difference there. And I don't know what I can see different about the two fights. So if it goes to decision, will we begin to see the UFC taking boxing's approach because they know this rematch is made. No one wants to see it, but the UFC wants Pereira to be the champ. If it's a close decision, I don't know how Ankalaev can win. Oh, Lou, you're saying the UFC's fixed. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying I'm watching to see what kind of judging we're going to get on this fight. But I can tell you, I don't know. I don't know if I can take Pereira. If I were to take Pereira, it would be via the knockout. I just don't know if he can get to him. I would say that at this point in time, and if you read the article on the front page of the Gamblu webpage, I used Ankalaev and Davalishvili, a couple of Russian boys together in a little parlay. I believe that's probably how it goes.
Yeah, that's in the blog there at the top. I was about to bring that up there and plug that for you, Lou. Well, let me ask you this. A 5-round fight, over under is 3.5 in this fight, minus 130 to the over going into this fight. And so that isn't Vegas telling us not a decision coming up here?
Well, Vegas isn't telling us anything,
Okay.
but I can tell you that if you look at the lines across the board, most of these are 4.5.
Yes.
Okay,
That's
'cause
what
it went to
3.5 what caught
decision.
my eye, yeah.
And I put a tweet out earlier this week. I mentioned something in the Sneak Tea podcast Monday about this total not staying at 3.5. I currently hold 3.5 minus 115, I think. Big. And what am I waiting for? I'm waiting until right before the fight goes off, and then I'm going to probably take the fight does not go to decision, meaning someone finishes someone else. So I've got 7.5 minutes where I can win both of those bets or split.
So those are the things that you think about that us casual guys don't, right?
That's
there,
what
so.
it was great. It was great journalism to lead me into that with your question, and now everybody benefits because you can choose if you like to try that approach.
Yeah,
it's awful safe.
Yeah.
You can lose a little
Well, that's the thing,
juice,
yeah.
or you can win 2 bets. I mean, why not?
And it's interesting because, like I said, my little knowledge of the UFC and the way that 3.5 just seemed like an odd number to me. I didn't know what it meant.
You don't see them often, and they don't
Yeah,
stay there
that's what I
often.
mean, and
Usually, if
that's why I
I,
was like,
see
huh.
him in a 5-round fight, I jump that over to play this game. I usually.
Not bad here. So it's interesting what you say on the by the way, 285 favorite for Ankalaev right now. Pereira's a plus 230 fighter. Here, it's interesting what you say about the close decision side of things there, from that perspective. So something to pay attention to if we get to that point.
The UFC is not telling judges what to do,
Okay.
but they clearly want Pereira to win this fight. And so if it's a close decision, let's see what happens, and we'll talk about it next week.
Absolutely.
It may not be, and it could be a knockout, and Uncle Louie could be all washed up. But I just don't want the UFC what happened to boxing to happen to the UFC, and I think it's inevitable that it's gonna, because I kind of see it slowly getting that way, unfortunately.
Their ownership worries me a little bit more than anything else. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's all about money.
one
and-
strong executive
Yep.
that decides who fights where and when, who he
And it's-
bonuses,
and
who he doesn't.
And all they care about is those executives. All they care about is the revenue. They care about nothing else. Prices go up and all of that stuff. So it is on my radar here with these guys as well. Robert, as we go to break here at TME Sports Show, says a perk of Uncle Lou every Thursday is Big Steve pronouncing names.
Yeah, that is fun.
I can say it 99% of the time. And then I saw it on my screen, and I was like, I have no idea how to pronounce that. It's amazing how it works.
And it was funner 6-8 months ago, a year
When I
ago, and
did
Steve had no clue. Steve's UFC knowledge has been gaining and growing week by week.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take a little responsibility for that,
it's
but
all-
I'm tickled by it.
It's
quite
all you,
honestly.
Lou. I'm not going to lie to you.
I'm
I would
tickled by
not pay
that.
attention to it if you weren't here
And for
piquing my interest. You're a good salesperson for the UFC because I would not watch it
I
otherwise.
love the UFC, but I'm not afraid to call the shots when I see improvement needed, and I'm not afraid to protect them. Listen, if the fighters had this stupid union where they were holding the UFC hostage and
I
they could
agree.
shut it down, I'd be on the UFC side because I just want to work fights every week. So I'm just looking for fair fights by which to bet.
And a 7 p.m. Main card from Las Vegas this weekend. So the prelims a little bit earlier because you have the early prelims. So is it 4? No, the early prelims.
Yeah,
Isn't it 3?
3, 5, and 7 is our
Because these numbered fights get the early ones.
They do.
From that perspective there. So we got all that in the bag there, and no more big names coming up. Unless we talk some injuries in the NFL. Some of those names get a little catchy as well. So when we come back with Lou, we'll get into that. We'll look how the line moved tonight with the injuries on the 49ers side with their announcement yesterday of practically everybody being out tonight. Plus, of course, the weekend of football. So come on back, folks, with Uncle Lou here on the Main Event.
green, yellow, blue, tall, short woman, man, I don't care.
There's a lot of sensitivity in this business.
Oh,
Lou.
come
That's all I
on,
can say
man.
about that.
If-
Egos get hurt
a
easily
human
in this
is a human.
business. That's why me and Dale get along so well. Is we're both just kind of like, yeah, whatever. Let's just do it. Put the best thing out there we can. That's why we love having you on here. You can make fun of me for looking at look boom
Look, boom me, he starts me out with. That'll go down in the annals of our radio show.
all of that, and everybody sports us here as well. And appreciate you guys joining us, and of course making fun of me mispronouncing Divashvili. See, you know why I was able to say it? It wasn't on my screen.
Davalishvili.
Yeah, dang it.
You're
Lou.
close.
Lou.
Even when I write, I use Marab because it's so long. It's like my last name.
That's the way to go.
Yeah.
Folks, when you start seeing a lot of A's and I's in a row, it's Yeah, it's tough. Let's just put it that way. Speaking of which, NFL this weekend as well, Lou. You said on your big pick'em there with for the I always joke around and say Big Money Lou over here doing the big pick'em there, but you're 4-1 last week after a rough start, and I just don't know. Like for instance, tonight's Thursday night football game on paper, both teams 3-1, division rivals. This is going to be a fantastic matchup, battling it out on Amazon Prime tonight. And then you see all the outs yesterday for the Niners, right? Brock Purdy out, which means Mac Jones starts. Every receiver's out. Starting receiver for the Niners is out. All of that stuff happening. And I imagine my first thought yesterday when I saw the outs, I go, oh, that line probably just moved galore towards the Rams there. So, and I know we all know your thoughts on Thursday Night Football, et cetera, but just curious on the way the line moved after the outs there on the 49ers announcements yesterday.
Yeah, so a week ago, I tracked these. I call them the look-ahead. They call them the look-ahead lines. So Tuesday, is today Thursday?
Today is Thursday. Welcome to Thursday.
I'm behind. Tuesday, Week 6's look-ahead lines came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have them recorded here, and I will an hour after I leave this meeting. But a week ago, Week 5's came out. And at that point in time, the Rams were a 3.5-point favorite over San Francisco.
Oof.
Now you look, and they're 9. So that means are the 49ers injuries, 6.5 points worth of injuries there? Well, you got Brock Purdy to the second-string quarterback Jones. I'll go 5 there, maybe 5.5 there.
That's the biggest
And so
one.
you got some other injuries, and so this is beginning to look like kind of an overreaction in the division game, familiarity, and San Fran and L.A. These two teams have been playing each other since I was in diapers.
Yep,
They've always been in the same division. And so let's see where this thing goes. I'd be in a hurry surely you're not – I wouldn't advocate any bet on L.A. However, I would advocate a bet on San Francisco perhaps, especially if that thing were to creep up 9.5 or 10.
A Thursday night game. Now, I said last week, watch that under and they ended up hitting under barely. They ended up, I think it was 43 points is what they scored last week. I like the under on this one as well. I know, is it still too early in the season to be looking at over-unders in your opinion?
No, it isn't. It is for me. I'm about I look at weather. I mean, we have wind in Europe, so that'll affect the Europe game early Sunday, but we don't have weather really yet. Rain doesn't bother me, wind right now. But once we get cold, and you happen to get cold and wind and rain, now you got something.
Yeah, I mean, the Rams, that air conditioner might be pumped up a little high there in SoFi. But the over-under on this game is 43.5 as well. So,
Open 47.5. So,
okay.
again, that's a reflection of all those San Francisco players being out.
By the way, I want to ask you, where did you see the 9? Because I use FanDuel for the football picks here on the program. 7.5 is what it is on FanDuel right now. So my point is shop around, because if you're seeing a 9.
9's at the Circa, which is what that tells you is that Circa is giving more points to San Francisco because there's a lot of guys betting the Rams there.
Yeah, they want people to bet on the
DraftKings,
Niners.
a public house, has people betting San Francisco and not the Rams. That's interesting. It's usually the other way around. The sharp side's on Circa.
Rams, by the way, are minus 120 at that minus 7.5. So they don't want you putting money on the Rams.
Yeah, it's about to go to A.
They got hammered on the Rams yesterday.
About to go to A.
Okay.
So, we'll wait and see where it shakes out. I don't play Thursday games usually.
I'm going to avoid this one just because of the injury side of it. It's
the
just,
NFL,
how do you know?
The NFL schedules division games on Thursdays. Why? Well, it's easier prep. You've been prepared for these guys 2 times a year for 20 years. So there's familiarity here, and so that's why it's San Francisco or run for me.
Let's go with the local team here. That's on paper. The Cardinals have an easy game on Sunday. It's the NFL, though, right? The 0-4 Titans coming to town against your Arizona Cardinals. I said earlier in the show with Dale, I said you're going to see an amazing thing from the Titans. One, they don't have a lot of talent, but Cam Ward, I've watched some Titans games this year. He's going to make some throws that you're going to go, wow, that guy can throw the football. And then you're going to see plays where you're going to go, wow, what was that? because of the talent level on the Titans. Do the Cardinals rebound from this 2-game loss? They have a running game situation. Trey Benson now out as well. So their running back room is getting thin awfully quickly coming to this game as well. Sunday at home, right now on FanDuel, Cardinals are 8.5-point favorites. Cardinals don't win games big. That 8.5 number to me is huge. Something to maybe look at, Lou?
Yeah, and there's 7 at circa -120. So you can see the market's aflux with all these injuries.
Yes. Wow.
Another reason why I'm not dealing with these games too much just yet. And if I can find my
By the way, plus 8.5 for the Titans, -118 is the line on that one as well. So they don't. A lot of people putting money on the Titans at that line. They don't want you putting money on that.
the Titans are really a poor team.
Yes.
32nd offense pass, 28th rush. They're going to go against an Arizona defense that's 28th. They're really bad, but they're terrible against the pass. Good that Cam Ward.
Yeah.
He ain't going to pass on Arizona. He might make a few completions. But
Yes.
the interesting thing is Arizona's rush D is 8th, and Tennessee is not. They're going to be predictable because Pollard isn't going to be able to run. I like Arizona in this game. No, I'm not betting all those points. I'm looking at them in a survivor sense, meaning just pick them to move on.
Yep.
I think
Use
this
them in the
could be the
survivor.
last game that Tennessee experiences with its current coach.
Yeah, it's rumors are already out there after last week.
He's
The rumors got heavy.
over his skis.
Yeah. Over under 41.5 in this game as well. It's not that the Cardinals won't be able to score 21 points, 28 points. It's can the Titans score to get you to that 41.5, I guess would be kind of what you're looking at from there, but from that perspective. But local game, of course, we look at that and you said earlier, right, is Jaden Daniels playing? Is he not playing? Commanders 2-2 on the season. Have the Chargers this weekend 3-1 on the Chargers. Have suffered some injuries there, but we know what the Chargers want to do. Pound the ball, be physical on defense, take the ball out of your offensive side of things as well going into this game. Commanders, Chargers, Lou, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, that line opened 3 Chargers a week ago, and so now I'm seeing it circa -2.5, 120. You're probably seeing 3s with a 48. If
2.5, by the way.
Yeah, the Chargers. The Chargers have. We've bet them to win the AFC.
Yes.
So there's one thing, and I'm bullish on the Chargers. However, NFL is a lot about spots. Let me see if I can find the Chargers here. Here we go. So here's how I have this. First of all, if Jaden Daniels plays, it changes everything. The Chargers have the 7th-ranked defense, 16th run, 3 pass. So can Daniels, without McLaurin, pass all over this Charger defense? I'm not so sure. Yet the Charger offense is balanced, 13 rush, 12 pass. I'm high on the Chargers. I like them at home. I'm wary of this spot. If McDaniels plays, I think Washington could be live. This is a watch and learn game for me.
Really? Okay, perfect. I just don't know if the Chargers are going to allow the Commanders to get into a flow. And even if Daniels plays, right, he missed some time. So how much in sync is he going to be? And with the way the Chargers make you unsynced on offense, so that's kind of what I'll be watching. And I tend to agree with you on the no bet on that one coming up as well.
There's a lot of no bets this week. I mean, sometimes the best wager is the one not made.
Just these injuries, man, scary. Even like with the games I pick, I'm like, I don't even know who to pick in these games. One of them here is an interesting one. It's a Monday night game, Chiefs Jaguars. Jaguars 3-1. I'm actually high on the Jaguars this year. I have them winning that division and surprising everybody and winning that division. Chiefs obviously coming back to 2-2 after the 0-2 start for them on the season. Don't impress me enough. They're going to get healthy as the season goes on. They're going to be okay. It's in Jacksonville on Monday night here coming up. Right now, Chiefs are 3-point favorites. I think that's disrespectful here to the Jaguars. What does the line movement say? Is there line movement on Monday
Well, it was
night?
3.5 a week ago. So if 3 is disrespectful, 3.5 is a slap in the face and a kick in the pants. Jacksonville's doing way better than the market and many people thought. I think they're live in this position, but only if I can get them at home in 3.5. The Chiefs got Detroit next week. That's a big game. I don't think the Chiefs are looking ahead at anything at 2-2, but I think that the Jags could be still a little undervalued here. And if you can find that 3.5 come Sunday, that might be a play.
So right now it's -3, -118 on the Chiefs, +3, -104 on the Jag. That doesn't tell me it's moving to 3.5, does it?
Yeah,
It does.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's $2 away from -120.
Okay, so that's the line there.
So
that-
they're
that-
saying
to
if
go.
you want
Yeah.
if you want the 3 and you don't want to pay 3.5, we're going to charge you some juice. So now
Yeah.
you just go to 6 or 7 different places and find
Yeah,
a guy
shop
that's
it
got
around.
3 -110.
Yeah, and shop it around from that side. I just think people, and that's what I want to watch. That's what I'm kind of paying attention to. Jags, I think, are undervalued right now. Kind of still under watch. Now they go to 4-1, 5-1. I think you'll start seeing the public money kind of switch on them, and people start paying attention to them. So you got to take advantage of them while they're being ignored, if I may say that. Is that a
I
thing?
think that's a perfect read. I really do.
Yeah, look at that, folks.
How about that? From look, boom me and Thyara to a beautiful read. See, I call them like I sees them.
You got Buccaneers Seahawks this weekend. This is going to be, quite frankly, in my opinion, a game of the week here coming up in Seattle of all teams. Both teams 3-1 coming into this game. Seahawks 3-point favorites, and I'm not going to lie to you, that might be low in my eyes here. I have been more than impressed with the Seahawks defense. You do a lot of DVOA stuff here going into these games, and the Seahawks defense I already knew would be good, and I think they're outperforming everything. Coming off of 10 days off. On top of it, getting ready for the Buccaneers at home. I like the Seahawks in this game, and that 3 number, right now they're 3 -124. So wait for a 3.5, maybe.
If you like the Bucks, sure.
Okay.
I mean, you just said you like Tampa, right?
I like Seattle.
You like Seattle, so I'd grab it now or look for my 3 because it's
Okay.
going to go to 3.5, I believe. The look-ahead line was 3. Excuse me. The look-ahead line was 1.5.
I don't
Now,
like 3. I don't like 3 at -124.
No, you don't. You like
But
it
I
at
like 3.
-110.
Yeah. I
So
like
Seattle opened 1.5, and we've seen Seattle money come in based on Steve's dialogue here. And you got to look at spots and situations. Seattle's on a 10-day rest. So they played last Thursday. So they're going to have a substantial rest advantage over Tampa, who's a little bit dinged up still and has to travel all the way across East Coast to West Coast for the game. Probably a Seattle or pass. And at 3 or 3.5, I might execute a tease and take Seattle from 3.5 on the giving side to getting 3.5 and find a couple other legs with it.
Do something else with it. Last game I want to ask you about, Lou. I don't know if you have anything. Texans Ravens coming up here. Obviously, Lamar Jackson's hamstring's a big concern on this team. Ravens are 1.5-point dogs against the Texans this weekend coming in. Obviously, Lamar Jackson's a big question mark in this game. The Ravens' defense is a big question mark in my eyes, but I am not high at all on the Texans. I'm not going to bet this game, but is there something to look at on this game?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and actually, I'm in a Pick 5 contest for the Las Vegas Review-Journal with other handicappers and bookmakers in Vegas. And I wrote up the best bet this week, and this is the game that I chose. And so there's a few things.
Maybe I will be betting it then, Lou.
Yeah, I think there's a few things to talk about. I just got to find my numbers here.
Both teams 1-3. Texans horrible start to their season. Ravens similar on their defensive side. So
Houston is giving. You said 1.5, but
right
you can
now.
see 2s, and you probably even see some 2.5s.
yeah,
if
it's
you,
-1.5, -115. So
yeah,
it's
so I'm
leaning
seeing
2.
I'm seeing 2 at Circa. This line opened Baltimore 10. Now it's moved 12
Seriously?
points
Holy
based on Lamar Jackson being out.
Wow.
Is Lamar Jackson worth 12 points? Well, it's flattering for Lamar Jackson that the people think he's worth 12. He's worth 6.5, 7, maybe 7.5, not 12. This is overreaction with a capital over and reaction. I think that Houston, who is dog meat on offense, and the one adage I keep pounding in my head, what Mike Lombardi, who is now with Bill Belichick in North Carolina, when he was with us in VSiN, said, terrible offensive lines don't travel. And 32nd ranked offensive line is Houston's. This is too much overreaction. I'm going to find a way to take Baltimore. If it at 2.5, I'd probably tease it to 8.5 and put it maybe with one of the other teams mentioned earlier. But for the Las Vegas Review-Journal, I just said take the 2 on Baltimore. And at the time I wrote the article up and submitted it yesterday, it was 1.5. So I said take the 1.5 with Baltimore. Too much overreaction.
That's what it still is on FanDuel. Interesting enough. Let me ask you this. So they haven't officially said Lamar Jackson's out. Rumor is he's going to miss 2 to 3 weeks, but they have said nothing about it.
Right.
When they officially announce he's out, we're going to see another line move, or is it already built in?
Maybe, because you got to understand the public hasn't bet this yet. They're too busy worrying who's going to win the Heisman and what's going on Saturday.
So my question is, you like the Ravens at 1.5? Wait.
Yeah, I'm
because
waiting.
You'll see a movement when they officially announce he's out, which is coming.
I know if they announce he's in, you could lose it.
Well, that's
right.
Well,
so
that's the danger.
that's why they call it gambling. I prefer to have my information, and if I'm not speculating on a bunch of stuff. I see that the networks do it. Oh, but if he does this, if he does that, yeah. Well, if my aunt had whiskers, she'd be my uncle. So forget if. I tend to be real conservative, especially early in the season.
You have anything else on NFL? I mean, the other game that's kind of exciting to me to pay attention to, Colts 6.5-point favorites over the Raiders this weekend. I don't know if that's too big of a number for the Raiders. That I think the Raiders have a possibility to cover that this weekend. They're in Indianapolis. That's the only other one that kind of intrigues me in terms of the number difference. But I don't know if you had anything to add here as we wrap up the show.
That game opened 6 Indy, and what'd you say it was?
6.5 on FanDuel. 6.5 minus 115. So people are pumping money the Colts' way right now.
I think they're at home. Yeah. They're a good team. The quarterback can play. He's ranked well, doing well, teams well, great offensive line. That one maybe I tease down to 0 and just take Indy to win in a field.
Yeah, I'm not saying the Raiders are going to win it. I'm just that 6.5 number kind of, and if it goes to 7, it's kind of like, that might be. I know 7's not ideal.
Yeah,
but
Raiders on the road without a real running game and only a tight end.
Speaking of offensive line problems, man, that poor running back gets the end of the ball and he's getting hit on the spot every time. So you might be right on that. Cardinals have a Colts next.
The only hard thing I'd give you right now is what I gave to Las Vegas Review-Journal, and that's a Baltimore position. I think that's a tremendous overreaction. And I'll be looking hard at Jacksonville at 3.5, provided they get it. And I think it'll get there. We just got to let John Q get his brains beat out in college for 3 different time zones and then go into the NFL, get beat up early, middle, and then night, and then roll into Monday.
Yeah, and that's the problem with that game is that's a Monday nighter, so you're not going to see big movements till Sunday night, right? So something to pay attention to there.
You won't see big movements till Sunday night, right?
So, Lou, appreciate you coming in as always. Glad you found the place.
Great. This is easier for me than the old place.
Is it?
So I love it.
Even better.
I'm downtown. I like downtown, and there's a coffee joint down the way. I now know. So
when you pull out of the garage, don't gun it out of the garage because there's a sidewalk at the top when you come out. It's kind of a blind turn there. Because over the weekend,
do I go out the same way I come in?
Same way. And me and Ethan were coming out of that, and there's a couple of ASU kids on scooters, and we were like I would have hit them if I was gunning them out of there.
I'm glad you told me that.
So there's a sidewalk right there. So when you pull up out to the top of it, just pay attention a little bit so you don't take out some poor kid just trying to get his engineering degree out there, Lou.
That would ruin everybody's day, and we don't want that.
For everybody else, McCollum on Business coming up at 11. The Pit Stop Look Ahead show coming up later today as well. Of course, the Look Back show is up as well here at Robat TV and all of the sources. We'll see Lou next Thursday as well. For everybody else, we'll see you tomorrow, 8 o'clock. Come on back, folks.